Hello, I'm Janna, and welcome back to the Crafty Corner. Today, we're diving into Diecember. I just got my hands on the Tim Holtz exclusive Diecember die set, and I love it. This little die set is absolutely magical, so we're going to be having a good play with it today. If you'd like to see exactly which supplies we're going to be using, go ahead and pause here. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. I am so excited for today because we are talking about December, and check out this amazing die set. This is from this year's Tim Holtz exclusive December collaboration with Simon Says Stamp and Sizzix. This is the Be of Good Cheer die set, and check out that adorable snowman and Santa Claus. I am so happy to have gotten my hands on one of these. Now, today we're going to be creating a few cards with this die set. I've already pre-cut 2 snowmen and a Santa Claus from some distress watercolor cardstock, and I've already pre-adhesed the back of the cardstock because that'll make the assembly process so much easier. Now, for coloring, I'm pulling in the Distress watercolor palette with Distress reinkers, and we're going to be painting one of these in real time before we kick the rest of these on fast forward. For coloring, we're going to be pulling in the Distress Ranger Fine Detailer brush. This is my absolute favorite water brush to watercolor with. It is very easy to use, and the detail tip is perfect. Now I'm going to be starting off with the base layer of the Santa Claus. I'm thinking that I probably want some tattered rose, and we're going to go with that. And let's see, for our next color, I think we're going to be pulling in some of the accent color for the piece that goes along the hat. And for that, I want some speckled egg. It's kind of like a grayish tone on the die set, but I think the speckled egg would make a great shadow color. So we're going to pull that in and put that on these pieces over here. Now, the thing that I absolutely love about the reinkers is that it really doesn't take a lot. And just with the water brush and a little bit of water, you can really make that color stretch. And it's just such an easy and mess-free way to add color to die cuts. Taking a closer look at the die set, I think I missed the color for the base layer. The face is actually cut out over here, and that I'm going to be using some tattered rose for. I'll have to go back to that other piece. I think that's supposed to be a base layer of black, so I'll take care of that at the end since I want to do my bright colors first. Now we're going to be pulling in some barn door for the hat. And I want a slightly darker red, maybe some aged mahogany would be good for that extra accent piece. So let's see what we've got here. Okay. Yeah. That looks like it should be good. That looks like all the pieces for the Santa Claus. So now we're going to be kicking the rest of this on fast forward as I add some color to the snowman. All the coloring is now done. So it is time to start the assembly process for all of these pieces. Let's see here. Where are we going to start? Okay, I guess we're starting with a Santa Claus. So we're going to just pop out all the pieces that we're going to need, and then we can start building. So again, I put double-sided sticky tape on all of the pieces of watercolor cardstock that I'm going to be using today. This is going to make the assembly process a lot easier. Okay, so I am going back and fixing this base layer. That base layer is supposed to be black because through the cutouts in the second layer, this is where you're going to kind of see where the eyes are. So we need to do a quick little alteration. We put that second piece down, which is like the white beard, and then for the third piece, we're taking that little curvy bit that has the eye cutouts, and this was colored with Tattered Rose. All right, so we're just going to peel the backing off the back, and we're going to put that in here. All right, and that is exactly how it is supposed to layer up. You can see kind of like the eyes or maybe the eyebrows, and now we've got our layers in the correct order. Next, we're going to take that red piece for the hat, and we're going to continue building. So I'm just going to peel the backing off that. I'm currently just using my nails right now, but when the backings get troublesome, I like to pull in the die pick to help pull pieces apart. All right, now we need that little accent, and we'll just add that to the hat. Okay, so the hat is done. Now we're going to add the pom-pom. I love how many layers there are. It really adds some dimension to this die cut element. It's so fun. It's just like putting a little puzzle together, and there's so many different options for customization each time you make these. Okay, next I'm going to want the accent piece. This is kind of like a drop shadow that we're going to be adding in. So we'll just carefully pull that out of the paper. Okay, so we're just going to place this along here. Now, the shadow is really interesting. We get the shadow of his hat, but we also get kind of like an outline of where the beard is. That is pretty neat. I love how that just adds more dimension. All right, so we have our first super cute die cut piece done. Now it is time to start working on the snowman. So we're going to pull in the rest of those pieces and start building. Next, we're going to start working on the snowman's hat, and this comes in a couple of different pieces. So let's go ahead and pull those out and see what we can do. Now, another thing I just noticed is that the snowman has another layer to it. There's also a base, and we're going to come back to that in just a little bit. But first, I want to add some of the embellishing details on him. So we're going to stack the hat, and the hat comes in a few pieces. There's the main hat, and then there's the hat band. And there's also an accent piece. So we're going to build that and then move on from there. That's good. And why not? We're here, so let's add in the nose. Now, the nose I colored with some carved pumpkin, and the hat was colored with black soot, and the band was done with a dash of blueprint sketch. Next, let's add the scarf in. I love the scarf. It is a great finishing detail, and I colored it with wilted violet and dusty concord for some beautiful purples. I love using purples, especially for Christmas stuff, because it's like a snow color, and it's fun adding in all sorts of different color options. All right, so that's pretty much the assembly on the snowman, but we're going to need a circle of black to go behind the snowman's head, because those little cutouts where the mouth and the eyes are supposed to be black. So we're going to need a circle to go behind that layer. But that should be pretty easy. I've got some scraps, and we can quickly die cut it. Okay, here are those die cuts, and we're just going to peel the protective backing off the back of the snowman, and then we can build up these final layers. And I do need to poke out these little extra bits and pieces from the mouth and eyes, because we need those to be completely open so we can see the black detail through the cuts. All right, so we're just lining things up and carefully placing this circle down, just making sure that our edges match, because it's not quite perfectly circle. It's kind of, it's got a little bit of an oval shape going, so we just need to make a few adjustments. All right, now first snowman is done. Let's go ahead and create a second one. All right, let's get the pieces together for the next one. It's going to be pretty much the same. We're putting our base layer on first. then the white layer of the snowman's face, and then we're going to go for the carrot nose. There we go, nice and easy. And next, let's go for the hat. We've got the hat. There we go. And then there's the little band that's going to go across it. Perfect. And then we're going to go in for the scarf. And the scarf is in 2 pieces. For the scarf, I decided to go with some rustic wilderness for the base layer and some twisted citron for the second layer. So that is pretty easy for us to put together. And there we go. That would complete our second snowman. So these guys are looking great. I just love how cute they are. That was so much fun. And I just love the end result. Definitely a good one to make several times, and they will be great additions to little cards, maybe even rosettes, or even mini cards. I just noticed that we've got one more addition to make to these die cuts. There are these little circles that are going to be the rosy cheeks of the snowman and the Santa. Now, I could just color these off screen with Kitsch Flamingo, and now I'm just adding them on as finishing touches with the die pick. So that's just a last step to finish these guys and complete the set. All right, there we go. That was nice and easy. Now it's going to be time to create some things to go with this. Now I'm kind of thinking that I would like to do some ornaments. As you saw, I've got some of that fun red and white twine, which I'm going to be using. So I've already pre-cut some pieces, and we're going to be making some rosettes. I did 3 pieces for each rosette. I've got this really cool black and white piece of paper, and then I've got some holly. These I die cut using this year's Tim Holtz Ideology backdrops. Now, all we're doing is making a basic accordion fold under over until all of our pieces are neatly folded up. After everything is folded up, then I'm going to go back and start hot gluing these pieces together. But in the meantime, just under over, and we're going to have a lovely fan fold. And as you can see, the design just looks really cool, even folded. And I love the black and white colors of this. I love the trees. I love how it's kind of like a little winter scene going on here. And that is going to be really pretty for when we turn this into a rosette. All right, almost done this one, under over, and there we go. That would be number 2. So we've got one more to fold, and then this rosette will be ready for some assembly. So we have just one more section that we're going to accordion fold, and we'll be ready for some hot glue. So just very quickly going through this under over, and we'll have that last piece all set. I love the rosettes, and they are definitely some of my favorites this year to be turning into Christmas ornaments. There's so many different ways to decorate these, and the second I saw this die set, I knew I absolutely had to make some ornaments. All right, we have our 3 pieces. Next, we're going to be pulling in our hot glue gun. And for the hot glue, I'm using the Sure Bonder. So we're just running a thin bead of glue along the edge, and then we're just going to be sticking our pieces together. And we're going to be creating a whole chain, and that's going to allow us to put this into the right shape of a circle that we will then smush down into a rosette. Now we're gluing in our 3rd segment to finish up the chain. And after, we will glue this into a circle. So we're just going to line things up, make sure everything's facing the right direction, and then we can finish the assembly. All right, so line of glue and adding that to the other piece. All right, here we go. Sticking that down, everything's lining up. Oh, this is going to look so good. I just love that black and white. And now we're just going to close off that circle. So we're going to need a little bit more glue here. All right. It's looking good. Got that. Now we need some glue. A little bit of a glue line, and this will be all set. So there we go. Glue and other end. Smoosh that together. All right. And we'll just hold that for a second or two to make sure everything sets up well. Now I'm just taking the top and pushing that down, and it pushes everything right into the correct size of rosette. And I'm just kind of tweaking the edges to make sure that everything is still a nice under over because we've got that beautiful pleating that's going to give us a great work surface to embellish this rosette on. Okay, so looking pretty good. And I'm just continuing to pinch and make sure that all of those spots are going to be even. Now I'm just adding some glue to the center of the rosette, pushing that right into the center, and then we're smushing things together so we kind of get like a little glue blob. And now I'm taking a die cut piece. This is a silver circle that I die cut that's going to act as a seal and a landing zone for some of our embellishments. So we're just holding that a moment or two and giving it a chance to set up. So while that works, we're going to fold the rest of our second rosette. Now that all of our pieces are folded together, let's form the rosette. So we're putting some hot glue in the center, and we're going to hold that for a moment to give the glue a chance to set up. And then I'll put my centerpiece in the center of the rosette, which is going to be the Santa. Now I just need to peel the adhesive backing from him, and we'll be good to go. All right, there that is. Oh my word, absolutely perfect. He fits perfectly over that rosette of holly and berries. Definitely a good match. All right, so the next thing to do is start embellishing. And I have got all sorts of different embellishments that we're going to be using to decorate these two rosettes. For starters, we've got some confections. And I've also got this really cute adornment snowflake. I've got a few snowflake die cuts that I've had sitting around for a bit. And I've also got the little itty bitty stars that I die cut with the holiday cheer set. So let's start with the confections for the Santa Claus. And I'm just going to do a initial layout of what I'm thinking, and then I'll start gluing the pieces in. All right, so let's go for some collage medium this time, and we're just going to put down a generous portion on the confections before placing that onto the rosette. All right, now for the little candies. I love these. Now, one thing you'll notice, if you have some of the earliest confections, the red candies are actually a lighter color than they are right now in the current SKU. So if you have all of them, it can make a very fun candy configuration. All right. I think that is looking pretty good. Now, we'll just move that off to the side and we'll bring our second one in. For this one, we're kind of going with a wintry, snowy theme. And I've got this ring that we're going to add around the circle. And it's got like kind of a pinked edge. So we'll just put that right there. Good. And then I'm kind of going to put everything around that. Next, we're going to place the snowman on here, and he's not as sticky on the back. We're going to need to add some collage medium, and then we can put that down. All right. Oh, that looks really good. The black and white with the silver is just perfect, and the snowman really pops. Now we're going to be pulling in some snowflakes, and these are going to be my main source of decoration. And we've got all sorts. We've got some artsy snowflakes, and we've got some paper cut snowflakes. So we have lots of choice. And I'm also going to put those little sparkly bits on from the Diecember die set. So a little bit of collage medium, and we have got our pieces mostly in place. And I'm definitely thinking I really want to add the adornment snowflake as well. It's got a bit of extra shine in it, so that would be a really good addition to this rosette piece. So now that we've pretty much got all of our embellishments in place, oh, we still need to add that adornment, have to have that extra added sparkle. We're then going to add even more sparkle to these with some distressed glitter. We're going to be taking some collage medium and edging the entire rosette until we've got a nice layer of glue, and then we'll be able to sprinkle on the glitter for a finishing touch. So we've got our scrap paper down. Oh, and of course we need to add a sentiment. Now for this one, I'm definitely thinking Let It Snow is going to be the perfect one. We've got the snowflakes, we've got the snowman, and that one really is all about snow. So let's add that. And for the second one, what would be a good one for this one? Let's take a look. Oh, what am I thinking? There are always so many choices. I think we're going to be going with Holly Jolly. That is perfect because we've got Jolly Old Saint Nick and we have the holly on the rosette. All right, now on to the glitter. So let's take that glue and we're going to run that up and down those scalloped edges and then drop our glitter in. And just carefully working our way all the way around. That looks good. Okay, now for some glitter. We're going to be taking our large bottle of distressed glitter and we're just going to dump that right onto the rosette. I am being pretty careful because some of our elements are not quite set yet since we just glued everything down. So we're just going to carefully work our way around the edges, adding the glitter. Adding the glitter, I'm kind of tapping the back of the rosette just to shake any extra glitter off. There we go. All right. So that would be the first one, all nicely glittered. Now, later on, after this has a chance to dry, I do plan on adding some string with some hot glue to act as a hanger for this. I can't wait to add this to my craft room tree. So sparkly good. Oh, and that snowman, just too cute. I love the new Diecember set. So good. All right, let's take that extra glitter. We're just going to carefully dump that right back into the jar. And then we'll move on to the second rosette, which also needs glitter. For the second rosette, we're going to be changing up our glitter. If you remember, there is a older vintagey gold glitter, and I want to use my stash. So we're going to be sprinkling some of that onto the edge of this rosette. Honestly, the gold is going to go perfect because this rosette is definitely featuring more warm colors, so that will make a lovely addition. And again, we'll just work our way all the way around with the glue and just try to get all of the ruffled edges with a good layer of glue before we add our glitter. Now, I could take care of this using the glitter duster, but I find that tends to be very messy, and if I'm going to use the glitter duster, then outside is a much better choice. But we can still pour this on, and I did tap some of the extra glitter out of the glitter duster mechanism. But for the most part, we're just going to sprinkle and work our way around the edges of that beautiful rosette. Okay, so far, so good. And I love the beautiful sparkle on this. Definitely worth it. Okay, So almost all the way around. And again, we'll have to scoop up that glitter and put it right back into the jar. And I'm just giving this a light tap on the back so that that extra glitter falls onto the paper. All right, pretty good. Let's go ahead and set that aside. Now we're down just to a bit of cleanup. Now that we're done making those fun rosettes, it's time to dive in and see about making a card as well. So I'm going for a jingle bell theme for this next card. We've got some jingle bells, we've got jingle all the way as our sentiment, and we've got some more snowflakes. Now for the snowflakes, I am thinking that we're going to be creating a multi-layered card, and the middle layer is going to have silver snowflakes on it. So we're just going to be putting those snowflakes around the edge of this piece of distress white heavy stock, and then we'll be able to layer that. All right, so I'm just pulling out more of my snowflake die cuts. We're just going to pull a whole bunch of these and just kind of do a rough setup. Now, if you notice, these snowflakes are very hollow. Every once in a while, I get a really good box, and sometimes I will even take apart the box and die cut with it. This happened to be a decorative Kleenex box that just had this really pretty snowflake and hollow pattern on it. So, of course, I had to save it and immediately started die cutting these beautiful snowflakes. And they've been in my stash for a little bit, so this seemed like a great time to pull out these sparkly snowflakes and give them some purpose. Now, we're just going to be pulling up each snowflake since I kind of have an idea of where I want them all to be. And I'll be adding collage medium and just working my way around the paper until we have a full border. And then we can see about adding even more layers to our card. With all our snowflakes glued in place, we're going to add our next layer. And we have this pocket card. I've been saving all sorts of these, and this is again from Ideology, and I love using these for layered backgrounds. So we're just going to make sure that everything is on straight, and then we can proceed with the rest of our card. So the next thing I'm thinking is that I want to just flip this over and quickly snip off the extra edges of the snowflakes. The extra edges definitely aren't needed, and we can just make everything neat and tidy by snipping off those pieces that are overhanging the card just by a bit. And as you can see, we're just snipping them off very thoroughly. And soon we'll have the card ready for that next layer. Okay, cutting is done. Let's bring in that next layer. So we have a beautiful metallic that we're going to be putting down as our base. This is a Ideology metallic craft stock, and I've cut this down to size at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So we just need some ATG tape, and then we can stick this right on there. I love doing layered cards. They make the cards look really sophisticated, and just having layers can add some great visual interest. Okay, so we've got our tape. Now we just need to center this up the best that we can, and then we can see about the main focal point of the card. But I'm also thinking that I'll need to give that focal point a landing zone. So I have got this great sticker from one of the Tim Holtz Ideology sticker books, and we're just going to use that as a little belly band to act as our landing zone. Now we can take that snowman and add him in. He's kind of got a little ledge to sit on now. That is perfect. All right. So I'm going to place him there, and now we're going to want some of the bells and maybe some greens and definitely the sentiment. So let's just kind of play around and figure out where everything is going to be placed. All right. So we've got our bells. Looks like some assembly is required for these, so we're going to grab the collage medium and add these parts and pieces together. Okay, that is looking pretty good. So now we're going to be adding the bells in, And I kind of want to do this kind of asymmetrical. I want to do 2 on one side and 2 on the other. And then we'll need some greens to just fill the rest of this out. So let's put some glue on the back of these and we can place them down. And then we can see how everything else is going to be fitting in for this card. All right. So not bad so far. Let's see. What is next? So instead of greens, I found this fantastic Ideology Layers wreath. And that's going to give us a beautiful splash of color. And you know what? The snowman is going to be perfect in here because I can now frame him using the wreath and we can tuck the bells in and around the bow of the wreath too. So this is great. This gives us a landing zone and it adds a bit more dimension to the card and the colors. That is just absolutely perfect. All right, let's get back to those bells and see about tucking them in at different angles. And then we can move on from there. So dash a collage medium. And we'll just put those bells in their places. So let's tuck one right here. That looks pretty good. A little bit of fidgety lining up. Now our second bell, we'll need more collage medium. Good. And let's place that over here. So far we got a bit of symmetry going. And then we're going to need the third bell. And this one we're going to put on the side that is closer on the left. Now we just need our sentiment. And Jingle All the Way is perfect, especially since we've got those jingle bells in here. The question is, where do we want to place this? So I'm kind of thinking off center, but near the masks. That should be good. All right. Definitely pretty happy with the card. That definitely came together. Here are our completed mini projects with this year's Tim Holtz Sizzix Diecember exclusive die set. Be of good cheer. I love the adorable snowman and the wonderful Santa Claus. Today we created a couple of rosettes and a full-sized card with these new dies. I had so much fun putting together all of the parts and pieces for the ornaments and a sparkling card. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner for Diecember. Until next time, happy crafting.